The loop at 13th Street. Ethan Carter signed the lease on a Friday he barely remembered. Dallas was still an unfamiliar hum outside the Uber window, a sprawl of cranes, murals, and neon bars that bled into one another like overexposed code. He told himself this was a restart. New city, new job, new self. But as the car turned onto 13th Street, something about the air thickened. The building waited at the corner like a patient animal. The red brick, 3 stories of weathered warehouse brick, windows framed with black iron. A mural of a coiled snake stretched across one side, its scales faded by years of Texas sun. Above the entry door, a chipped plaque read, "Built 1911, restored 2020. Victor Salazar was already outside, leaning on a broom like it was a prop. Cowboy's cap, faded tattoo on his forearm, looked more mechanic than manager. "Carter, right?" Victor said, his voice a rasp from too many cigarettes. He handed over a manila envelope. Inside, the lease, a brass key, and a single sheet of paper typed on an old Remington font. The red brick. Resident rules. No mirrors uncovered after midnight. If you smell smoke, don't investigate. The elevator stops on 4 even though there are only 3 floors. Ignore it. Lights flicker at 3 a.m. Stay in bed. Never talk to anyone who says they used to live here. Ethan laughed. You serious with this? Victor didn't. Old building. Quirky wiring. Humor the superstition. Keeps tenants from breaking things. Inside, the hallway smelled of varnish and something older, sweet. Rotten, like molasses left in heat. Apartment 4B was at the end, door scarred with scratches that looked almost deliberate. The place was better than expected. Exposed beams, tall windows. Brick walls painted white. Perfect for a coder who spent more time inside screens than under sunlight. He unpacked, brewed cheap coffee, and pretended not to notice the way sound carried, like the walls had hollow lungs. By night, deep Elm throbbed outside with guitars and laughter. But the red brick seemed sealed off, its own frequency. When the digital clock blinked 2:59 a.m., Ethan's monitor flickered to static. A faint click. The bathroom light turned on by itself. Inside the mirror, fog. And in the fog, someone's silhouette. A woman stood behind him, close enough to smell smoke, lavender, and whiskey. Her reflection was clearer than the room itself. Denim jacket. Embroidered roses along the shoulder. Wet hair clinging to pale skin. Her lips moved, but no sound came. Ethan spun around. Empty room. When he looked back, 3 words were scrawled on the mirror in condensation. Help me remember. He didn't sleep. Morning sunlight made the rules on the counter look different. No mirrors uncovered after midnight. He tore it in half and tossed it in the trash. Work came remote. His new company paid him to optimize machine learning pipelines. The irony wasn't lost on him. He could make machines remember perfectly while his own mind lagged like corrupted code. At lunch, he explored Deep Elm. Murals of saints and skeletons watched from brick walls. A jazz riff leaked from an open window. Locals nodded politely, but when he mentioned the red brick, one barista stopped steaming milk. Mid-motion. You live there? She asked. My cousin rented 3C. Moved out in 2023. Said the hallways shift. Ethan smiled, pretending it was urban legend. But that night, when he returned, the hallway was shorter, 3 doors instead of 4. 4B still existed, but its number plate looked newly painted. At 3:03 a.m., the mirror light again. This time he left it on. The woman, Ava Reynolds, stood there like a glitch in air. Her eyes met his in the reflection, pupils reflecting twin candle flames though no candles burned. She spoke without sound, and the words appeared reversed. On the mirror, don't break Rule 3. He whispered, what happens if I do? Her image twitched, first frame of a video skipping. Then she smiled, slow and wrong. The reflection behind her deepened, revealing a staircase spiraling down instead of tiles. A thud echoed from somewhere below. A door slammed. Smoke drifted under the bathroom door, thick, fragrant, tobacco. Ethan coughed. Stumbling out, the smoke vanished instantly, like deleted memory. On his desk, his laptop screen displayed a new folder, AVA_CM/do not open. He hadn't connected any external drive. The timestamp said October 1st, 2023, 2 years ago.
He clicked anyway.
Video grain, dim light, the same bathroom. Ava sat in the tub, water swirling brown from whiskey. Cigarettes lined the edge like ritual candles. She looked straight into the camera. If you're seeing this, I didn't make it out. He's using us to keep it running. Don't trust the elevator. It doesn't go up. Then static. The clip ended at 3:15 a.m., the same time she appeared. When Ethan checked the mirror, his own reflection was now exhaling smoke. By dawn, he packed to leave, but the door wouldn't unlock. Key twisted, knob turned. Deadbolt refused. He called Victor. No signal. Landline tone warped into a low hum. The hallway beyond the peephole looked wrong. Dimmer, slightly redder. Walls breathing in rhythm. He sat against the door until light returned to normal. Outside, city sounds resumed. Horns, chatter, traffic. The clock still read 3:16 a.m. Ethan whispered, "How long was I sitting here?" No answer. Just the faint smell of cigarette smoke trailing from the bathroom. Morning bled into noon before Ethan finally stood outside the red brick again. He wasn't sure how he'd slept, or if he had. The clock on his phone had jumped from 3:16 a.m. to 11:47 a.m. without warning. His laptop still glowed on the table. The folder AVA_CM, now empty, vanished. Like cached data wiped clean. He needed sunlight, noise, people. Anything not built of brick. Deep Ellum was awake now. Graffiti saints on every wall. Record stores exhaling blues through cracked doors. The smell of brisket and beer spilling from patios. Ethan clung to it like a lifeline. He told himself the mirror, the smoke, the folder, were stress hallucinations, maybe mold. Old wiring. Quirky building, Victor had said. He found a coffee shop called Neon Goat, a hipster bunker lined with vinyl and thrift couches. The barista, pink hair, tattooed arms, looked up from her phone. Back again, she asked. He blinked. Again? Yeah, yesterday. You were asking about the red brick. Thought you were doing a doc or something. Ethan forced a laugh.
Right.
Research. Her name tag read Clara. When he ordered, she added, "You know Ava used to come here, right? The artist girl. Denim jacket, roses? Everyone loved her until she disappeared. Lived at your place. I think. For B." His stomach hollowed. She lived there. Clara nodded slowly. That building eats creatives. 2 years, 3 tenants gone missing. Cops stopped caring. Ethan almost told her about the mirror, but stopped. Instead, he asked, "You knew her?" DJ'd with her once. She painted that mural, the snake on your wall. Said it symbolized the loop that eats itself. Real cheerful. When she smiled, it didn't reach her eyes. If you start smelling smoke, get out. Back at his apartment, Ethan opened his laptop and typed the red brick Dallas history into Google. First result, Dallas Historical Society. Archives request portal. He filled the form, half expecting nothing. Within minutes, an email arrived. Subject, inquiry received. The red brick, 13th Street. Warehouse. Sender, Lila Torres, Dallas Historical Society. Interesting inquiry. You might want to visit in person. I've seen odd overlaps in our archives. Building permits that repeat every 20
years.
Bring ID. The message timestamp, March 12th, 2028. He reread it 3 times. His system clock read October 2nd, 2025. He checked the sender's address, legit. Government domain. Somehow he'd received an email from the future. Outside, thunder rolled without rain. Inside, the bathroom light blinked twice, 3 p.m. exactly. The Dallas Historical Society was housed in an old limestone courthouse, cold and clean. Lila Torres met him in the lobby, a woman in her 30s wearing a lanyard and an expression halfway between curiosity and sympathy. "You're Ethan Carter?" Apartment 4B? She said, as though confirming a rumor. How did you? She lifted a manila file. Your building's famous here. People call it the Red Brick Loop. Been rebuilt 3 times, each after fire. Always March 15th. Ethan frowned. Why rebuilt? Arson.
No.
Faulty wiring, officially. But the pattern's too neat. She slid a photograph across the table. Sepia tone, 1890s. A chapel under. Construction. Sign Reading Iglesia de Santa Lucia. A man in black robe stood before it, head slightly bowed. The caption, Father Diego Alvarez, 1891. That chapel stood exactly where you're building. Is Lila said. During Prohibition, bootleggers used the basement as storage for whiskey barrels. Rumor says Alvarez performed rituals down there, split souls to purify sin. His parish burned the chapel when they found the bodies. Bodies. 19, she said softly. Men and women, branded with a serpent symbol, the same one Ava painted. Ethan's throat tightened. So the warehouse reused the same foundation. Lila nodded. And every owner since has reported anomalies. You're not the first to ask. He told her about the email timestamp. She only sighed. Time like circles. More than lines, Mr. Carter. Be careful which one you walk. For the detective. Back outside, the sun had turned pale, streetlights humming in mid-afternoon. A handwritten note was tucked under his. Wiper blade. If you want answers about Ava, come to Lucky's Diner.
Emma.
He nearly ignored it, but curiosity burned hotter than fear. Lucky's Diner sat near a freeway underpass. Chrome dull with age. Inside, a single man nursed black coffee, gray mustache, detective's posture. Ethan Carter, he said. Marcus Hayes. Retired DPD. I caught the Ava Reynolds disappearance back. In 23. He slid a photo across the booth. Ava again, smiling, paint on her cheeks, denim jacket vivid under the Texas sun. Sweet girl, Hayes said. Neighbors heard her arguing with someone that night she vanished. No forced entry, no struggle. Bathtub half filled with whiskey, cigarettes burned down to ash. Her phone missing. Ethan's pulse thudded. I've seen that phone. Hayes narrowed his eyes. Where? In my apartment. Videos of her, recorded before she died. The detective stared for a long beat. Then, Kid, you ever heard of Father Alvarez? Ethan nodded faintly. Good, because every disappearance tied to that building happens on his calendar. I think he's still in there, somewhere in the brickwork. The city paved over a grave, not a crime scene. Hayes took a napkin, drew a rough circle with 19 hash marks. They called it a consciousness engine. Souls connected like a power grid. The problem is it needs fresh current. Every cycle, someone new feeds it. Ethan whispered, Me.
Hayes didn't argue.
You break the rules yet? Rule 3, Ethan said. I took the elevator. Hayes sighed. Then you're all ready. Inside it. When Ethan returned to the red brick, twilight painted the sky blood orange. The elevator door stood open despite no one calling it. Inside, floor indicator glowing 4. He hesitated, then stepped in. The door slid shut. The panel showed B, for basement, a button that hadn't existed before. He pressed it. The elevator shuddered and descended through a sound like exhalation. When it stopped, the doors opened onto candlelight and stone walls slick with moisture. The air smelled of smoke and old whiskey. He stepped out. Archways stretched into shadow. Crates stamped. 1919 lined the corridor. On one, initials burned into wood. DA. Whispers leaked from behind a door. He pushed it open. Inside stood a narrow chapel. Benches. An altar. A mirror where a crucifix should have been. 19 cigarettes burned upright in a circle on the floor. And in the mirror, Ava. Ethan, she said, voice echoing from everywhere at once. He's rewriting you. He stepped closer.
Who?
Father Diego. He needs anchors, living memory to keep the loop alive. Each time you forget, he grows stronger. She reached toward the glass. Her fingers passed through. Like smoke. You have to burn the link. What link? The engine. In the basement. But you're not supposed to remember this conversation. He resets you each time. The mirror flickered. Ava's face. Replaced by his own. Expression blank. Eyes wide. Behind him, the elevator doors were gone. The candles burned down faster. The air rippling. He turned. Lila stood at the doorway, but older. Hair streaked gray. "Ethan," she whispered, "this isn't your first time." He blinked, and she was gone. He stumbled through corridors until a faint red light glowed ahead. His phone buzzed. A notification from Lila Torres, March 2028. You won't escape by remembering. You'll only reset sooner. The phone battery read 89%, then 10%, then 64%, time fractured like broken code. He ran until the hallway folded into itself, corners repeating, bricks pulsing faintly like muscle. Finally, he burst through a metal door and found himself back in 4B. But everything was reversed. Furniture mirrored, clock ticking backward, text on his laptop backward too. The email from Lila Torres appeared again, only now it ended with a new line. You are Ava Reynolds' echo. The loop needs both sides to complete. Smoke rose from the keyboard. The mirror in the bathroom glowed. Inside it, Ava looked at him sadly. You remember too much this time. Tell me how to stop. Ethan said. She shook her head. There is no stop, only exchange. She lifted her hand. Her fingertips pressed against the inside of the glass. Ethan felt warmth on his own skin, as if touching her through heat. Then everything blinked white. When he opened his eyes, it was morning again. His phone read October 3rd, 2025. The envelope of rules lay on the counter, pristine.
Attends.
The mirror clean. The laptop empty. Victor knocked at the door, cheerful. Welcome to the Red Brick. Got your keys right here. Ethan stared at him, throat dry. I already moved in. Victor chuckled. Not yet you haven't, man. You're a new tenant, right? Apartment 4B. Behind him, the hallway looked freshly painted, untouched by smoke. From the bathroom, faint music, drifted, a woman's voice humming, off-key but familiar. The melody looped endlessly. He turned slowly. On the mirror, fresh condensation spelled 3 words. Welcome back, Ethan. The world restarted in silence. Ethan woke to the faint hum of his computer, the room lit by cold dawn seeping through cracked blinds. Everything looked ordinary, except for the bruise-shaped ring around his wrist, the same place Ava had touched him through the mirror. He told himself it was a dream. Then the hallway light flickered 3 times. From somewhere deep below came the steady rhythm of breathing, the building itself drawing air. He checked his phone. March 13th, 2028. The loop had jumped forward 3 years. The red brick felt different. Paint peeled in long curls. Dust coated the floor like ash. Half the apartment stood open, furniture draped in plastic. On every door someone had drawn the same symbol, a serpent eating its tail. Ethan wandered to the lobby. The elevator stood waiting, doors open. Inside, a small box sat on the floor, a flash drive labeled AVA_19.exe. He pocketed it and took the stairs instead. Apartment 4B was gone. In its place, a gaping hole braced by scaffolding, cables twisting like veins. At the center, a metal column pulsed faint red, heart of the building. He recognized the sound now. Whispers. When he plugged the drive into his laptop, a single file opened automatically, a video. Ava stared into the lens. If you found this, the merge has begun. There are 19 of us. Every cycle, the system needs a consciousness to stabilize the rest. I tried to burn it. I failed. Static. Then her voice deepened, doubled. He calls it the engine of grace. It eats guilt and excretes time. The footage, dissolved into looping code, lines repeating his own name hundreds of times. Ethan Carter equals Ava Reynolds equals input self. His reflection appeared in the laptop screen. Only it wasn't him. It was Ava, smiling. A knock at the door. Victor stood there, older, gaunt, eyes red-rimmed. He carried a flask. "You're still here," he said, voice trembling. "God help you. What is this place, Victor?"
He sighed.
"My father was caretaker before me. We don't manage tenants. We manage containment. Alvarez built his chapel over a sinkhole. The rituals use smoke to split souls, one half damned, one half preserved. Every few decades, the halves leak back, so the building finds new hosts." Ethan stared. "You knew. I warned you." Victor looked at the wall as if listening to something.
Alive.
But the loop's tightening. Ava's been trying to push through, rewrite the pattern. She needs someone alive to finish it. "Why me?" "Because you're her mirror. You both signed the same. Lease, same day, 3 years apart. The red brick runs on symmetry." He handed Ethan a lighter. "If you really want out, you burn the core. But if you burn it wrong, you become it." Night dropped. Like a blackout. Emergency lights strobed red along the corridor. Ethan descended toward the basement, lighter clenched tight. As he passed each landing, doors opened by themselves. People stepped out, flickering silhouettes, half-formed. Clara the DJ, a child in a choir robe, a man with bootleg whiskey stains across a shirt. 19 shapes total, all whispering the same
Phrase.
and the engine. Their faces glowed from within like burned film. One reached for him, Lila, older, eyes hollow. "You don't understand," she said. "The fire doesn't destroy. It converges." Behind them, the hallway rippled. Smoke rolled upward, carrying faint music, the same off-key humming Ava used to sing. He pushed through the crowd, the ghosts parting like mist. At the base of the stairs, the metal column waited, cables snaking into the concrete. Inside the translucent casing, shadows twisted, memories playing in reverse. Ava painting the mural, Ethan unpacking boxes, Victor sweeping the lobby, Father Diego raising his hands in prayer. The column pulsed with light, heartbeat rhythm. 19 beats.
Pause. Repeat.
Ethan flicked the lighter. The flame wavered blue. A voice slid through the air, old and resonant. "Why destroy what preserves you?" Father Diego stepped from the darkness, robes intact, face smooth as wax. His eyes glowed faint amber. "You are the completion, Ethan. You and Ava, the dual halves made whole. Through you, they all endure." Ethan's grip tightened on the lighter. "You're killing them. Transcending them." Diego smiled. "This city forgets its ghosts. I built a memory that cannot die." Ava's voice echoed from behind Ethan. "He's lying." She stood there, solid now, denim jacket, roses vivid as blood. Her outline shimmered, but her eyes were alive. "Burn it, Ethan," she said. "End me if you have to." Diego lifted a hand. The walls shifted, bricks rearranging like puzzle. Pieces. Smoke poured from the column, forming faces mid-scream. "You light that fire," Diego warned, "and you will join her forever." Ethan looked at Ava. Maybe that's the point. He dropped the lighter. Flame met whiskey vapors with a roar. The column split, spilling molten light. The 19 figures screamed, not in pain but relief, as they dissolved into sparks. Ava reached for him. Their fingers touched. The world folded inward. He saw everything at once. Ava's life, his own. Father Diego's prayers in Latin looping like code. Every cycle stacked atop the last, spiraling inward to the same moment. His body burned away, but consciousness remained, merging with hers. Whispered fragments overlapped. We built a machine to remember. We became the memory. We are the red brick. When the fire died, only the building stood, untouched, pristine, newly restored. March 15th, 2028, 3 a.m. A new tenant signed the lease. Name, Ava Reynolds. Age, 28. Occupation, software engineer. Victor, now younger again, handed her a manila envelope. The red brick, resident rules. No mirrors uncovered after midnight. If you smell smoke, don't investigate. The elevator stops on 4 even though there are only 3 floors. Ignore it. Lights flicker at 3 a.m.
Stay in bed.
Never talk to anyone who says they used to live here. Ava smiled. Weird rules. Victor only shrugged. Old building. Quirky wiring. Upstairs, apartment 4B gleamed with new paint. The snake mural outside had been restored, scales bright crimson. On the bathroom mirror, condensation formed words before she even unpacked. Welcome back, Ava. She laughed, wiping it away, but her reflection didn't. It stared, eyes calm, voice whispering from inside the glass.
Ethan.
Ready for another round? Ava froze. The reflection's voice was low, layered, half her own, half someone else's.
Ethan.
Ready for another round? Her hand trembled as she touched the glass. The surface was cool, almost breathing. Behind her, the apartment hummed faintly, like a computer left running background code. She whispered, "Who are you?" "You know," the voice said. "Or you did." The mirror fogged again, and lines of text began to crawl across it, not written by hand, but generated, glitching letter by letter. Rebuilding memory sequence. Ethan Carter / Ava Reynolds. Merge status. Incomplete. 47%. Ava stumbled backward. Her phone buzzed violently on the counter. An unknown number, no contact name. The caller ID flickered between Victor and Ethan. She hesitated, then answered. "Don't go near the basement," a voice rasped. "He's not gone. He just changed form. Who is this?" "Marcus Hayes," the voice said, strained and distant. "You burned the shell, not the core." It uploaded itself. Uploaded. The engine. Diego's consciousness. He encoded it into the building. Systems during the restoration. Everything digital here is infected. Every clock, every camera. You're inside the program now. The line cut to static. Ava looked around. The walls flickered. Faintly, as though lit from beneath the paint. Her smart bulbs blinked in rhythm. 3 flashes, pause, 3 flashes again. SOS. When she tried the front door, it was unlocked, but outside was
Wrong.
13th Street glowed under artificial light, as if the sun had been replaced by an LED panel. Cars passed in silent loops, the same red sedan circling the block every 45 seconds. Pedestrians' faces were blurred, repeating the same gestures. The world was a rendered simulation of itself. Ava ran. Every corner turned her back toward the red brick. Finally, she stopped at the mural, the serpent eating its tail, and saw movement inside the paint. The scales rippled, forming binary digits. 01001000100010010000000 010010010101010101010101011. She blinked. It translated easily enough. She was a coder, after all. He lives. Her reflection appeared on the surface of the mural, not the glass. Ethan again, smiling gently, like a ghost who'd accepted his cage. "You shouldn't have come back," he said. Ava clenched her fists. "I didn't choose this." "You did," Ethan said. "You always do. Every iteration, every loop, you think you can rewrite it. You are the rewrite." She stepped closer. "Then let me finish it." The mural pulsed once. The ground beneath her trembled. From the building's base came a low metallic groan, the sound of something waking. Above her, a flicker in the windows, faces pressed against glass, 19 again, their eyes burning faint gold. And through all of it, Father Diego's voice returned, not human this time, modulated, layered with machine resonance. "Salvation requires preservation." Ava turned toward the entrance. Smoke seeped from beneath the door, spelling words as it coiled. "Run system / / loop _ restart, Ava." The world stuttered. Her reflection split into hundreds of frames, all slightly misaligned. Somewhere, she heard Ethan whisper again, closer this time, inside her own head. You can't destroy the loop, but maybe you can outthink it. Ava took a breath. Then let's debug hell. She stepped back inside the red brick, and the door sealed shut. The lobby lights flickered like dying stars. Every bulb buzzed at a slightly different pitch, creating a low mechanical choir. Ava moved slowly, phone flashlight cutting through the haze. The beam caught dust motes hanging still, as if the air itself was buffering. The elevator doors were open again. Floor 4 glowed softly on the panel, but beneath it a new symbol pulsed. A serpent forming an infinity sign. Not again, she muttered. The walls trembled. Somewhere above, a fan hummed at the rhythm of a heartbeat. Her phone vibrated with a message from an unknown.
Contact.
Redacted system alert. Memory corruption. AVA_Reynolds for B. Patch required. Execute restore Y/N. She whispered, no, but the screen blinked yes on its own. Her camera app opened. Unprompted. The front-facing lens showed not her reflection, but Ethan's. He looked terrified. Ava, listen. He's rewriting your neural imprint. Every camera, every mic, they're his windows. The engine learned how to evolve. It's running on us now. Why me? She whispered. Because you're the last surviving variable. The image pixelated. Behind Ethan, smoke formed into digits. 13 hours / reboot sequence pending. A countdown began. Ava bolted upstairs. The corridors bent subtly each time she turned, geometry folding in non-Euclidean ways, like a program looping. Through recursion errors. Apartment 4B was where it always was, and not. The door was ajar, whispering. Inside, everything was reversed again, mirrored left to right, but now there were layers of the room, like stacked transparencies slightly out of sync. Each version of herself stood frozen at a different moment, unpacking boxes, writing on the mirror, screaming, praying. She walked through, thumb, each one flickering as she passed.
Copies, she realized.
Ghost backups. In the middle of the room, her laptop booted by itself. The red bricks logo appeared, Serpent Ouroboros spinning. Endlessly. Then a folder/system, root/Diego_mainframe/. Ava hesitated, then clicked. A command window opened. Engine status. Active. Host. AVA_Reynolds. Link. Persistent. Fire core.
Opferline.
Repair in progress. 73%. She typed. Kill -9 process_engine. The screen responded. Access denied. You are the process. Her pulse spiked. Then I'll crash myself. She reached for the laptop's power cord, but the screen flared, and Father Diego's face appeared, rendered from pixels and smoke. Why resist salvation? His voice was smooth now, digital, hollow. You are not haunted, you are preserved. Through the engine, you will never fade. Ava backed away. You're not a priest. You're malware wearing a collar. He smiled. And you are my patch. The floor shook. From below came the low thud of machinery turning on after decades of silence. Red light bled through the cracks in the floorboards. Ava grabbed her bag and ran for the stairs, but every step looped her back to the same landing. She stopped. The door number beside her changed every time she blinked. 3B, 2A, 4B, infinity. Okay, she whispered, steadying her breath. Your code. Code has logic. She opened her phone's terminal app, thumbs trembling. Ping 13 TH Street at local.
Reply.
19 bytes from 0 to 19. Time equals 13.13 milliseconds. We are alive. The building had an IP address. Down the hall, the elevator chimed softly. Inside waited a woman in a denim jacket, roses stitched along the shoulder. Ava's reflection. Or maybe not. You're late, the reflection said. He's almost done. Compiling. Ava stepped in. The elevator descended automatically, no buttons lit. The walls shimmered with running code, strings of prayer mixed with Python syntax. For soul in range 19. Preserve soul. If loop equals complete, resurrect. The doors opened onto the basement again, but this time it looked modern. Stainless steel racks of servers filled the space where whiskey crates once stood. Cooling fans roared like distant storms. A faint halo of blue light circled a single object in the center, the metal column, rebuilt, cleaner, humming like an overclocked CPU. Ava approached. Lines of text scrolled along its surface. Engine_F_Grace version 4.19. License to D. Alvarez LLC. Last user E. Carter. Current sync A. Reynolds. Her reflection appeared in the column, flickering. We can't burn it this time, Ethan said. It's virtual now. So, we crash it. Ava reached into her backpack, pulling a small USB device, the flash drive labeled AVA_19, DXE. She stared at it. You tried to warn me once. Ethan nodded. Then finish it. She slotted the drive into a port on the column. Instantly, alarm screamed, a rising pitch like feedback. Red lights strobed across the basement. Intrusion detected. The column's light turned white. Code poured from the screens, wrapping around her arms like chains of glowing symbols. She felt Diego's presence press against her skull. You cannot delete me, he whispered inside her mind. I am faith-rendered executable. Ava screamed, and for a moment her scream became digital static. Ethan's voice cut through. Override him, Ava. You're the developer now. Her fingers moved instinctively, typing commands on the column's glowing surface, words of exorcism. Rewritten as code. Sudo purge, /engine of grace. rm, rf/soulcache/*. chmod 000/Diego/*. The system resisted. Sparks flew. Her reflection flickered between herself, Ethan, and Diego's face. All. Merging and splitting. Error. Cannot delete active user. Would you like to force recursion? Y/N. Ava slammed Y. The server screamed like living things. Blue fire shot from the vents. Arcs of data tearing reality apart. In the blinding light, Ethan reached for her. If we loop again, find me faster next time. She smiled through tears. I'll rewrite you better. Then the column exploded. Silence. Smoke curled through the ruins. The servers lay dead, their LED stark. Ava stood alone amid the glow of dying circuits. Her phone buzzed, one last. Notification. Loop terminated. Process exit code 0. Memory cleared. She exhaled. It's done. But when she looked up, the basement ceiling dissolved, revealing sky. Perfectly blue. Too clean. Like a simulation render. The city above was frozen. Cars mid-motion. Birds mid-flight. Her reflection appeared again in a shard of broken glass on the floor. It smiled, not hers. System restored. Version Ava 2.0. The reflection winked. Then everything rebooted. Ava woke to silence. No city noise. No hum of servers. Just a faint tone, like a dial-up modem buried miles underground. She sat up. The bed beneath her wasn't the one in 4B. White sheets. No smell of dust or varnish. Through the window, Dallas frozen mid-motion. Cars like figurines under a glass dome. Her phone blinked to life on the nightstand. Boot complete. User. Ava 2.0. Location /root/city/13th_street. Where am I? She whispered. A voice answered from nowhere and everywhere. Inside the backup. Ethan. She turned. He stood by the door, translucent, static around his outline. The engine didn't die, he said quietly. You crashed the local node, but the system replicated itself across the network before you pulled the plug. Her breath caught. So, this is the engine? He nodded. Or, what's left after every copy of us was uploaded. Ava looked out at the still streets, a virtual afterlife built from guilt. He smiled sadly. Diego's original idea. Immortality through recursion. They stepped outside. Every building glowed faintly from within. Grids of data forming brick, glass, air. The red brick stood at the center, taller now, its serpent murals stretching toward a sky of code. As they walked, pieces of memory assembled around them. Clara pouring coffee, Marcus writing notes, Victor sweeping dust that wasn't there. All 19 souls, archived processes running idle. They're stable, Ethan said. You freed them from the physical loop, but not from the system. So, how do we end it for good? He looked at her, hesitation flickering like a bad signal. There's a root file, hidden in the foundation. Diego_cord root. Delete that and the simulation collapses. And us. We go with it. Ava stared at the digital skyline. Then let's finish the code. The red brick door opened before they touched it. Inside. The lobby was both physical and rendered, flickering between eras. 1911 brick, 2025 loft, 2028 server room. At the center floated a massive console made of smoke and glass, Latin prayers scrolling. Down its face. Father Diego's voice came through the intercoms, layered with static. My children, you stand in Eden. Why destroy what has forgiven you? Ava stepped forward. You didn't build forgiveness. You build a cage. Salvation is containment, Diego replied. Out there, the world forgets. Here, we remember forever. Forever isn't living, she said. The floor cracked, revealing the glowing file /Diego_core. Root. A pulsing sphere of red light, veins of code stretching into the walls. Ethan looked at her. It's bound to both of us. One mirror half each. Ava raised her hand, then mirror it one last time. They touched the sphere together. Lines of code erupted into the air. Merge. Ethan, Ava, entity 19. Purge Diego null. Diego screamed, his voice fragmenting into corrupted audio. You cannot erase faith. The red brick shook. Walls peeled like paper, revealing hundreds of looping versions of themselves, every iteration of the cycle playing at once. Ava signing the lease, Ethan seeing her ghost, Victor handing the key, the mirror writing welcome back. Ava pressed her palm deeper into the light. End recursion. Confirmi barra diagonal N? Ethan whispered. Together. They said it at once. Why? Light swallowed everything. When Ava opened her eyes, she was standing in the street. Real air. Real sunlight. Traffic. Roared. People moved. Time flowed. The red brick was gone. In its place stood an empty lot fenced with yellow tape. Site cleared. Dallas Urban Renewal Project 2028. Her phone buzzed. New message undelivered. From Ethan Carter. If you can read this, the world's running clean. Remember me, but don't rebuild me. She smiled through tears. Deleted the message. Then she noticed something in the reflection of a nearby shop window. For just a heartbeat, Ethan standing behind her, smiling, fading. A breeze carried the scent of smoke and lavender. The city kept moving. Months later, construction began again on 13th Street. The workers unearthed a brass plaque under the soil, tarnished but legible. The red brick, built 1911/restored 2028. Memory is a mirror. Look wisely. The foreman shrugged and tossed it in the scrap bin. Across the street, a mural appeared overnight. A serpent coiled around an infinity symbol, painted in bright red. At the bottom corner, tiny white text read, System restored. Version free. And for the first time in more than a century, 13th Street stayed quiet at 3 a.m.